Hi everyone, today we're going to be working on word problems and solving them. So I wanted to review our poster. You probably can remember it in the room, and the steps that we should be taking as problem solvers. The first step is be sure to read the problem carefully. Secondly, visualize what the problem is saying. Third, retell it. Can you retell it in your own words? That way you know that you understand what the question is asking. Fourth step, interpret the problem. Look for clues. Use those keywords. Fifth step, model the relationships. Also, draw a picture is a good one for this. If you're going to draw a picture, that is going to help you know what to do for the next step, which is find the unknown. What operation will you use? You have to think of the clues and look at your drawing, and then you should know. And then, of course, 7, probably the most important, reflect. Put the answer back into the problem, and then you'll know if the operation you chose was wrong. Okay, so we're going to be looking at page 251 at some multi-step word problems. So we've done more than one step throughout this school year. Today we're just going to practice those. So let's think about those steps as we show our work and solve these problems. Isabel bought 36 pieces of fruit for her soccer team. There are 16 apples, 12 bananas, and the rest are pears. How many pieces of fruit are pears? So I know this is a multi-step word problem, so I know I'm not just going to take these numbers and add them. That wouldn't be good problem solving. You want to visualize this. So let's go back. Isabel bought 36 pieces of fruit for her soccer team. We already know the total. There's 36 pieces. So we don't need to find a total. What we do need to find, however, is how many pieces of fruit are pears. So there's 36 pieces of fruit. 16 are apples, 12 are bananas, but the rest are pears. So if I want to figure that out, first I need to find out how many pieces of fruit the apples and bananas make up. So if I want to do that, I would say 16 plus 12, because I know I want to find the total that those two types of fruit equal. So using my skills, I'm going to start in the ones place. 6 plus 2 is 8, and then go to my tens. 1 plus 1 is 2. So I know there's 28 pieces of fruit that are not pears, but there's 36 total. Let's think about that. If I add 28 to 36 to find out how many pears there are, I know that could not be reasonable. That would give me like 60 something. And I know that Isabel only has 36 total. So that tells me there's 36 total pieces of fruit. 28 of them are not pears. The rest, that key word, looking for clues, tells me to subtract. So I'm going to do that. Starting in the ones place, 6 minus 8 I can't do. I'm going to ungroup that 10, make it a 2, and bring that over to the ones. So now I have 16 ones. I can do that. That's a double stacked backwards. So 16 minus 8 would be 8, because I know 8 plus 8 equals 16. 2 minus 2 is 0. I'm not going to write a 0. So I know that would be 8 pieces of fruit are pears. 8. How many pieces of fruit are pears? 8 pieces. Now let's reflect. Isabel bought 36 pieces of fruit for her soccer team. There are 16 apples, 12 bananas, and 8 pears. And that makes sense to me because I can already see 8 plus 12 would be 20, and then 20 plus 16 would be 36. That makes sense. That's reasonable. All right, let's make sure we follow those same steps as we look at number 3. There are 15 more boys than girls in the school band. There are 27 girls. How many students are in the school band? Okay, let's visualize this. So I know there's boys and girls in a school band. There's 27 girls, right? There's 15 more boys than girls in the school band. So that using my clues, I see 15 more. That means I'm going to add that to 27 to find out how many boys there are. That's just going to give me the number of boys. That's still not going to answer how many students are in the school band. So remember, we're doing multi-step problems today. So let's use our skills. 7 plus 5, 7 in your head, add 5 more, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Put your 2, bring that 1 up, that new group in the tens, add it up. 1 plus 2 plus 1 would be 4. So now I know there's 42 boys. But is that really what it's asking? No. It says how many students are in the school band. So if there's 42 boys and there's 27 girls, now I'm going to just add that on because I want to find a total. So I know I'm going to add. 2 plus 7 is 9 and 4 plus 2 is 6. So I would say there are 69 students in the school band. Let's see if that's reasonable. Let's reflect. There are 15 more boys than girls in the school band. There are 27 girls. How many students are in the school band? And there are 69 students in the school band. So that makes sense. If there's 27 girls, 15 more are boys, and altogether that would equal 69. That sounds reasonable. Let's continue. Mahid built 7 car models and 14 airplane models. Jasmine built 9 more car models than Mahid and 6 fewer airplane models. How many models did Jasmine build in all? Okay, that's a lot of information. I'm going to have to break it up. So Mahid built 7 car models, but Jasmine built 9 more than him. I hear that more, and I know I'm going to say 7 plus 9 because Jasmine built 9 more than he did. So that tells me to add. So 7 plus 9, 9 in my head, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I get 16. So right now, I'm going to make a little note here. J for Jasmine. She has 16 car models, right? I know that. I know that Mahid has 7 car models. Okay, just want to keep that in my head. Mahid built 14 airplane models, but look at what Jasmine did. Jasmine had 6 fewer. Fewer's my key word. So if he has 14 and she has 6 fewer than that, I know I need to subtract. I'm going to start with 6 and count up to 14. 6 in my head, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and I can't see that, but I have 8. So now I know that Jasmine has 8 airplane models, right? I know that Mahid had 14 airplane models. Let's worry about my 8. Now let's go back to the question. So I've got all kinds of information now. What is the question asking? How many models did Jasmine build in all? Well, I know because of my notes here, she built 16 car models and 8 airplane models. If I want to know in all, that tells me to add. So I'm going to add the 16 plus the 8. 16 in my head, add 8 more. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So she built 24 models. Let's see if that makes sense. If Mahid built 7 car models and 14 airplane models, then Jasmine built 9 more car models than Mahid and 6 fewer airplane models. She made 24 models in all. Yes, that's reasonable. Excellent job. So we're going to try just a couple more using the same skills that we've been talking about. Okay, don't forget to visualize. Don't forget to reflect. Look for those clues. There are 122 third and fourth grade students at Cedar Creek Elementary School. Wow, that's a lot. There are 67 students in third grade and 55 students in 4th grade. So here's what we're doing with this type of problem. You're probably saying, but it's not asking me anything. How come it doesn't say how many this, how many that? That's because for these problems, we are going to use rounding to decide if the answer is reasonable. Write yes or no, then find the answer to see if you were correct. We'll do this on Think Central today. So the answer is actually right here, 122. The answer is embedded in the problem. So if they are telling us that there are 122 3rd and 4th grade students at Cedar Creek Elementary School, and there are 67 students in 3rd grade and 55 students in 4th grade, we have to round these numbers to see if that's about right. So let's do it. In 3rd grade, 67, that would round to approximately, looking at the 7 in the ones place, 5 and above, give it a shove. 67's between 60 and 70, we're going to make that 70. And then 4th grade had 55. That's going to be between 50 and 60, looking at that 5 in the ones place. 5 and above, give it a shove. We're going to go higher, so that's going to be about 60. Now let's add them up. 0 plus 0 is 0. 6 plus 7. I'll use my doubles fact. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 1 more would be 13, would be about 130. So looking at that, that is very close. So I'm going to say yes to that. Is that reasonable? There are 122. I got about 130. That's only 8 off, and I rounded. So yes, I think that that would be correct. Then find the answer to see if you are correct. Let's add. 7 plus 5, 7 in my head, 5 more, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Put the 2, carry the 1. 1 plus, ooh, I like this. I see 1 plus 6 plus 5, but I'm going to add the 1 and the 5 to make 6, and then add 6 plus 6 because that's a doubles fact. And I get 122. Was I right? Yes, my estimate was correct. Now let's look at one more like this because you're going to do these on Think Central today. The total distance from Charleston, West Virginia to Biloxi, Mississippi is 913 miles. That's the answer. They're giving you the answer. Now we have to see if it's reasonable. Benjamin drove 455 miles from Charleston to Athens, Georgia. Then he drove 458 miles from Athens to Biloxi. So let's say 455 and round that to the nearest, let's go 100. 455 would be, looking at the 5 in the tens place, 5 and above, give it a shove, that's about 500. And then 458 would also be rounded to be about 500, give or take. So if I add that up, that's about 1,000 miles. And they said 913. Because I used rounding and I didn't round to the nearest 10, I'm going to say that it's right. I'm going to say yes, that's close. So if I add 5 plus 8, 8 in my head, 5 more would make 13, carry the 1. 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, carry the 1. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 is 913. And yes, my answer is correct. So that is what they're expecting you to do when there's not a question. Be sure to read the directions because it will tell you what you are supposed to do. So remember your skills, your steps when solving these two-part word problems, and make sure you complete lesson 4.17 in Think Central.